In 1930, one of history's greatest economists, John Maynard Keynes, predicted that by the year 2030, employees will only work 15 hours a week. Humans will be so advanced and relaxed that technology will do most of the work for them. And yet, here we are in the 21st century, working 50 to 60 hours a week just to finish a task that just doesn't seem to end. Clearly, John's speculation was based on the optimism that technology will dramatically boost productivity. And in that regard, he was right. Automation, computers, satellite communications, and all other innovation has clearly made human life much easier. And never before in human history had it been easier to produce so much with such little human labor. And yet, here we are with men working almost as many hours as we did back then 100 years ago, and even with more women than ever in the workforce as well. So, what is going on here? If technology makes us super productive, why do we still need to work at least 10 hours a day in a job, and sometimes overtime, just like what our grandparents used to? Well, let's find out. When Keynes published his studies during the Great Depression, he predicted a future where people's biggest problem will be how to occupy leisure time. People's imaginations ran wild, dreaming of a utopia that their great-grandchildren would enjoy. But it didn't come true, of course. At least not all of it. He did get some things right, though. For example, he claimed that the standard of life in progressive countries 100 years hence would be between 4 and 8 times as high as it is today, which came true. In 2011, real GDP per person in the UK was a little over 5 times higher than 1931 levels, and most other advanced economies have grown by even more. And to give him credit, in some countries the average working hours did fall in since 1929. But the drop in working hours has been far less dramatic than he imagined. If we look more closely at the data, a worrying pattern appears. Most of the big reductions in working hours happened in the middle of the 20th century, but from around 1980 until today, working hours in countries like the United States and the United Kingdom have barely changed. The figures often quoted only show the average hours worked per employee. They do not tell the full story. And they also leave out the labor force participation. In 1948, only about 32% of working-age women in the US were employed. Today, that number is closer to 58%. So even if the average individual worker may be putting in slightly fewer hours, a larger share of the population is working compared to the mid-1900s. This raises an important question. If, in theory, we are productive enough to work less, why are we still working so much? One explanation comes from basic economic theory. When wages rise in real terms, 2 forces come into play: the income effect and the substitution effect. The income effect suggests that when people earn more per hour, they can maintain the same standard of living while working fewer hours. Higher wages make it easier to reach your desired income, which could encourage more leisure. But the substitution effect works in the opposite direction. When wages increase, the cost of leisure also increases. Every hour not worked means giving up an opportunity for a higher amount of income than before. Leisure becomes more expensive, which can push people to work more hours, not fewer. Some people may even outsource household activities like cooking or cleaning so they can spend more time earning money. This also creates new jobs in service industries. Over the past century, it seems the substitution effect has been stronger than Keynes expected. People have not reduced their hours as much as predicted because the financial sacrifice of doing so feels larger than before. And this makes sense when we consider how technology has changed not just productivity, but also consumption. New technologies have introduced entirely new goods and services that people now consider normal. In the 1930s, few households had cars, air travel was rare, and things like smartphones, central heating, or even widespread home appliances did not exist. Today, these are seen as basic standards. As real wages have increased, so have our expectations for what counts as a decent life. For many people, even earning a median salary still requires full-time work to meet modern living standards. In that sense, individuals often feel they cannot afford to work less. Keynes himself recognized that human behavior also plays a role. Humans evolved in environments where survival depended on constant effort. If you did not hunt, gather, or build shelter, you did not survive. Our instinct to stay busy runs deep. Work is not just economic, it is psychological and social. Long hours are often viewed as a sign of dedication and virtue, while part-time work can carry stigma. Success is frequently measured by material wealth. As societies grew richer, many people chose to consume more rather than trade extra income for more leisure. As a result, we collectively decided to work more in order to buy more. Technological innovation has also created entire industries that did not previously exist. Much of modern GDP now comes from services and sectors that are not strictly necessary for survival. Within these sectors, some jobs appear to have unclear or limited value. Think of reports that no one reads, meetings that produce no decisions, or roles created mainly to manage internal processes. Anthropologist David Graeber famously called these bullshit jobs. He described them as positions so pointless that even the person doing the work struggles to justify their existence, yet they're often well paid and common in areas like corporate bureaucracy, consulting, finance, marketing, and middle management. Popular culture reflects this frustration. Movies and shows such as Office Space, The Office, and Severance capture the feeling of emptiness many office workers experience. Surveys support this perception. A UK study found that over half of workers in financial services and retail, and nearly half in media and marketing, felt their jobs did not meaningfully contribute to the world. In the Netherlands, about 40% of workers reported a lack of meaning in their work. While these numbers vary by country, they are still significant. Of course, feeling that your job lacks meaning does not automatically mean it has no value. Some researchers argue that value is subjective. If a company is willing to pay for a role, then it must generate some benefit. Critics also suggest that dissatisfaction may stem from poor workplace culture, lack of recognition, or alienation, rather than the work itself being pointless. Still, the fact remains that many office workers feel disengaged. This perception is linked to lower well-being. Part of the issue may be that there is simply not enough meaningful work to fill a standard 5-day, 9-to-5 schedule for everyone. As a result, employees sometimes stretch tasks to fill time or engage in what has been called productivity theater. Recent surveys show that a large share of employees admit to pretending to work at times. Terms like ghost working describe logging in without being fully productive. But why do such inefficiencies persist in competitive markets? Traditional economic theory says that a worker's pay reflects their marginal product, the additional value they generate for the firm. In some jobs, this is easy to measure. A mechanic who repairs 3 cars a day at $100 each clearly produces revenue. In many office roles, however, output is indirect. Answering emails, preparing slides, or attending meetings does not have a clear, measurable link to revenue. Because of this, companies rely on proxies like timesheets or performance indicators, but these systems can be manipulated. Employees may overstate the time required for tasks. Parkinson's law captures this well. Work expands to fill the time available. When hours are fixed, tasks stretch to occupy them. This creates a culture where appearing busy can matter more than actual results. If this sounds familiar, you might question whether your role truly requires 5 full days each week. One proposed solution is the 4-day workweek. Between 2022 and 2024, several trials took place worldwide. Many followed the 180-100 model. Employees kept 100% of their pay, worked 80% of their previous hours, and aimed to maintain 100% of output. The largest UK trial involved 61 companies and nearly 3,000 workers. The results were promising. Many companies maintained or increased revenue. Productivity improved in some cases, staff turnover and sick leave fell, and morale rose. Over 90% of participating companies continued the 4-day schedule after the trial. However, this model may not work everywhere. Sectors like healthcare, retail, and manufacturing have tighter links between hours worked and output. There are also concerns about inequality. White-collar workers may benefit from shorter weeks, while blue-collar workers remain on 5-day schedules. There are practical challenges too. Some employees may struggle to fit 5 days of tasks into 4. Businesses might need to hire additional staff or pay overtime, increasing costs. Because participation in trials was voluntary, the results may reflect self-selection bias. Even so, the evidence suggests that shorter work weeks can succeed in certain contexts. With advances in artificial intelligence and automation continuing, productivity may rise further. In theory, these gains could be used to create more leisure time. Historically, working hours have changed before. During the Industrial Revolution, 14-hour days were common. Over time, society shifted to the 8-hour day and 5-day week, despite resistance. Since the mid-20th century, however, progress has stalled. Inertia may be a major barrier. Without deliberate effort, working patterns remain unchanged. Encouraging more organizations to experiment with shorter weeks could be a step toward broader reform. Time is finite, and arguably our most valuable resource. Greater control over it can improve life satisfaction. Technologically, we may already have the capacity to work less while maintaining prosperity. Yet our systems and habits still reflect an older survival mindset. If we do not experiment with reducing working hours, we may never discover what is possible. Some countries, like Denmark, already combine relatively short working hours with high wealth and strong living standards. Their example shows that high productivity and shorter weeks can coexist. The question is not whether it is theoretically possible, but whether we are willing to rethink how we use our time. Let me know your thoughts in the comment below, and make sure to subscribe for our next interesting video coming soon. This is Rob, and you are watching Beyond Economy.